Good afternoon, friends. Welcome you all again to our Kent Masterclass, Innovative Masterclass sessions. There is a saying, if you want to achieve something in life, you need to be in good company of great people. That's important. That way, you also elevate yourself along with them. And one such individual, a great human being, a innovator, a great surgeon, a great friend is Dr. U.S. Vishal Rao, uh, who happens to be the regional director for head and neck onco surgery as well as robotic surgery at one of the premier institute of India in Bangalore, that is HCG Cancer Hospital. I'm glad to say that Dr. Vishal Rao is a honorary FRCS from Glasgow. So we should be calling him Mr., not Doctor. Yeah, I was just joking. Anyway, I welcome again Dr. Vishal on this session, and he is going to highlight us on various voice rehabilitation strategies required available during post laryngectomy. And what he's going to do is he's going to motivate us by talking about his innovation, that is his economical voice prosthesis which he has designed to help poor and needy patients of India and world across. Yeah, Dr. Vishal, you can take over, you can start. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Very good afternoon to all the participants. I would like to thank Prahlad sir for organizing this and all our participants who are sparing their time at this juncture to this session. I'm going to promise you I'm going to make this as interesting as possible and hopefully help you all take some good takeaway messages back on this. So to start with the presentation, sir had suggested that I speak to you all about the role of post laryngectomy voice rehab. So at the outset, I would like to share that I am representing HCG. HCG is a chain of cancer centers. We are at about 26 cancer centers across the world today, with our presence in Africa, Vietnam, parts of Asia, Middle East, and across India. We have a academics and research wing where we have our fellowship courses in head and neck surgical oncology, which is affiliated both with the Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences as well as with the Royal College of Surgeons. We also run some collaborative called the Journal of Precision Oncology. I'm the editor for this. And now I'll move to the topic, laryngeal cancer. Now, laryngeal cancer is one very interesting area for ENT surgeons and head and neck surgeons. If you see the trends of overall cancers in India, you see head and neck cancers comprises of about 30% of our cancers, of which a small segment of which is laryngeal cancer. So if you see 80% of our cancers in the head and neck are oral cancers, the rest of the 20% is occupied largely by the laryngeal cancers. So we see closely to about 15,000 cases, new cases in a year in India is what the ICMR estimates tell us. Now, if you see the paradigm shift that has happened in laryngeal cancers over the last few decades, it's been an interesting shift. Way back in 1894, one of the first laryngectomies was first described at that time. From then, way back almost to another 100 years, it continued to be the standard of care until in way back 1990, the VA trial introduced the role of neoadjuvant chemotherapy. And thereon, it has been a continuous cascade in organ preservation. And it very interestingly moved on from neoadjuvant chemotherapy to concurrent chemoradiotherapy. And same time, we are seeing the emergence of lasers and robotics, which are the surgical organ preservations. Now, here a very important point to note is that organ preservation need not only be non-surgical, it can also be surgical. Now, if you see the paradigm travel, again, if you divide this rather than time into stage of the tumor, primarily majority of the organ preservation has been for locally advanced and for early stage cancer. So in early stage, we've been looking at radiotherapy alone. And for stage 3, we've been looking at concurrent CTRT. Now for stage 4, we continue to use laryngectomy as a standard modality even today. And majority of our patients that come to India in our presentation, in our settings, are patients who are in stage 3 and 4. So we naturally get a mixed bag of patients who are eligible for CTRT as well as for laryngectomy. Way back from the 90s, there has been a complete wave of resurgence of organ preservation that has led to this complete change in the philosophy of reducing laryngectomy. So there was a trend that you obviously saw, that there has been a decreasing trend towards seeing laryngectomies. So now, if you see the last few years, we have seen a lot of interesting updates coming out about organ preservation and functionality. Now, one of the most important principles of organ preservation is that an organ preserved should be an organ functional. There is no point in having an organ which is not going to be functional. So, for example, for the larynx is important for protection of the lungs, the larynx is important for breathing, it is important for speech, it is important for swallow. These are the four important functions. Now, if a laryngeal cancer patient is treated with chemoradiotherapy, and at the end of that particular chemoradiotherapy, if his organ is dysfunctional, which means he continues to have aspiration, he is not able to breathe, he's tracheostomy dependent, he is not having a good voice at all. It's a crass, hoarse voice, and if he is defeats the purpose of organ preservation. And this is a very, very important learning that we have found from the ongoing clinical trials and the clinical experiences of chemoradiotherapy, that a segment of patients, as high as 30 to 50% of the patients at some point, may experience a dysfunctional organ. To the major extent of them that may require a salvage could be about 10 to 20%. But what we have definitely started to observe is that this trend is real, that an organ preserved need not be an organ functional. Now, with this background, I'm bringing some of the old data. Way back in 2006, Henry Hoffman's group actually presented a very interesting data which made us rethink on some of the strategies. What they showed was that when all the 24 cancers in the SEER database was analyzed, now the SEER database is the surveillance and epidemiology database, and this particular database is a population based registry, and this population based registry of US noticed an interesting trend that of the 24 cancers that they analyzed, majority of them showed a improvement in 5-year survival, except for one cancer, which is the laryngeal cancer, which was showing a decrease. So if you see this slide, the red circles are marked from 1983 up to 92. They saw a 3 to 4% dip that happened in the outcomes in laryngeal cancers. So that was a big concern, because a population-based registry showing a decrease in survival for them was a very alarming trend and a trend of major concern, because the overall intent of a cancer over years should be to improve outcomes. Now, when they studied this deeper, they found that the specific group of T3 larynxes were the ones which seemed to be the most effective. And when they went and dug down further in that, they found that it is this particular subgroup that showed the highest increase in the use of non-surgical treatments. So if you see this particular slide, elaborates, if you information of time to and that they postulated could be one of the key contributing for the increased could be decreased survival in these patients, which meant that although these patients are living, although these patients are living with a voice that is normal, larynx is normal, in shorter periods. So this particular study was an important, I would say, making uh, making date surgeon be actually looking strategy whether we gone wrong in compromise at the cost of organ preservation. So that today, if you look at the current trends, I'm is that, and it is well published. So, to explore patients live less longer. Voice backs is with that. Interesting short that today we are giving to the patients is that shorter but heal with a organ preservation. Rather have a laryngectomy and live longer. So this is a very interesting that we are seeing today, that although there is a trend to say that the survival is lowering, but yet people prefer non rather than ablative surgeries. Now, if you look at the quality of life in laryngeal cancers, it note that compare the quality of life between CTRT versus laryngectomy plus radiation. There was no difference in terms of appearance, mood, taste, saliva, anxiety, and general questions. Generally had impairment of speech, greater difficult problems, but largely these two have given references to show there was no major to difference. Out of particular discussions was people were more concerned about the stoma. The permanent stoma in the laryngectomy was one of the bigger concerns, and that seems to be the one single impeding against lab. So naturally, the life of a laryngectomy patient is a little. If you look at the voice-related voice handicap patients, and when you operate chemoradiation with laser and laryngectomy, the related of life seems to be the lowest with laryngectomy, and voice handicap seems to be the highest with me compared to radiotherapy. Now, this is again a very important data that you need to understand. So, what are that we have in the voice? Broadly, we have one is the esophageal speech, the other is another devices. So we have four broad topics with us. Now, if you the three important the esophageal and esophageal disadvantage. Advantages electropharynx has an excellent success rate. That is the maybe 2 to 10 years, and the cost can be the voice quality is poor. The very high motivation and has been a constant impediment